My name is Cristina Rincon, and this is about Iowa City, Iowa family court corruption. My ex is a registered child abuser. I am not. My ex is banned from parts of our nation. I am not. My ex is Nigerian. I am not. Our courts have historically treated non-black women who marry outside their race worse than it has treated black men and women themselves, states Ian Lopez in his book, White by Law. The most powerful mechanism by which society creates, defines, and regulates itself is law, he concludes. Had President Obama's mother had to fight for custody in Iowa before Judge Thomas Kaler, she too would have likely lost custody. My name is Christine, or Cristina. My lifelong passions include travel, dance, education, and children. My former marriage, ever so brief, encompassed them all. After marrying where we resided in Santa Fe, New Mexico, we traveled cross-country to Harlem, England, and finally to my ex's homeland of Nigeria. Soon after our return, my ex announced that he'd been accepted at the University of Iowa's MFA program. Against my better instincts, after all, he'd never mentioned he'd applied, I accompanied him, leaving the land of enchantment and my bilingual teaching job with our young son in tow. Short of receiving his MFA, and days after I delivered my second child, my ex left our family. I remained in Iowa and continued to run my home daycare. By all accounts, my children and those I cared for thrived. For the next year and a half, my children and I led a happy and peaceful life with limited contact from my ex, who'd moved to Saline, Michigan. Naively, I thought my divorce was as cut and dry as they came after I filed, but that's when my decade-long nightmare began. The first blow came when my ex refused to sign papers and began making threats. The next blow came when I contacted a suspected lover and she announced that he'd assaulted her and caused other disturbances. The next, when I confirmed the assault, as well as threats made towards University of Michigan personnel, which resulted in my ex losing his job as a TA and being banned from portions of campus. The blows only continued and haven't stopped since. My ex's recorded death threats towards me went completely ignored when an initial custody order demanded we share custody, 50-50 until a divorce was finalized. Scared to death and vomiting the whole way, I moved to Michigan on my 30th birthday to comply with the order. Next came one protection order after another, calls from community members warning me that my ex was looking for me, and then bruises on my daughter's bottom. The bizarre and disturbing reports continued to present. My ex and his former student and live-in lover were arrested at the U.S. Capitol on March 6, 2003 for appearing dressed as suicide bombers, but not even that ended my nightmare. Iowa refused to allow Michigan to take over jurisdiction of our divorce. What state doesn't want to get rid of cases? Asked the Michigan judge, dumbfounded. Iowa, that's what state. Days before the case finally made it to trial, my ex and his live-in girlfriend, Reena Patel, split on the rental agreement and fled to Iowa. Neither with a job, but landing a house in one of the most expensive neighborhoods in Iowa City. In October 2003, Judge Kaler called a 7-day trial, knowing I was the only party employed or paying for an attorney. Judge Kaler slept every afternoon of the trial, not even noticing when my ex began to sing in Yoruba and made threatening gestures toward me. Primary custody and child support were awarded to my ex. His ruling was clearly one-sided. The Iowa Supreme Court stated when my ex appealed and sought full custody versus just shared primary custody. Luckily, that appeal was denied. Nonetheless, I was financially drained. Years have passed. I'm stronger, I'm wiser. My children are healthy and wise beyond their years. Meanwhile, my ex and his now wife, Reena, have had 3 more children, the first of which was born 7 months after the Judge Kaler declared them to be solely platonic business partners. Both have caused havoc on lives throughout the nation, including lawsuit after lawsuit, a lockdown at our children's school, and additional arrest. To date, I have never been to court for any matter unrelated to my ex. While we all thank God we're alive, we can't help wondering what he'll do next. I ask Congress to demand judicial accountability, transparency in the courts, a system to effectively rid ourselves of ineffective, biased, and dangerous judges, and a system that supports the human rights of children. Thank you.